Buttons are one of my favorite tools because they make complex workflows feel effortless. If you've ever wanted to streamline repetitive tasks or automate boring parts of your setup, this is where the magic happens. In this video, I'll walk you through 5 ways that I personally use Notion buttons, including real examples from my workspace that you can use right away. Whether you're new to buttons or just looking for some fresh ideas, you're in the right place. I'm Anthony Wagner, and this is Queer Efficiency, where I help fellow productivity nerds solve tiny problems. Alrighty, in today's video, we're going to use a Notion document to show you how to use Notion stuff. So everything is in this page that you're seeing on your screen right now. We're gonna cover 3 key areas. The first being, what are Notion buttons? It'll only take a sec. They're very simple to use. The second being, where do you find buttons within Notion? And then the third is my favorite uses for those buttons. So, what are Notion buttons? They're powerful tools that help you automate your workspace. You can just click them and they can do a whole bunch of stuff. Creating new pages, setting properties, opening links, all sorts of things. These are just tiny little examples. They can execute a single step or a series of steps, all with just one click. That's what makes them so powerful. And Notion has a bunch of actions that you can take with those buttons. And then just as a little bonus, you can style those buttons with icons and colors, which is fun. And I'll show you those in just a second. Okay, next, there are 2 main placements that you'll find buttons within Notion. The first is just standalone blocks, which you can get to by typing / and then button. And it will come right up and you can insert a button. We're not gonna do that just yet. And that will insert a standalone button. You can also find them inside of databases, inline or entire page databases, doesn't matter. If you've got a database, you can insert a button by clicking plus and either typing button or scrolling down and choosing button from the list. That will insert a button here. So let's create a new button by typing / and then the button command. And you'll see here I'm prompted with a field to enter the button's title, a spot to change the icon, and then a spot to add actions to the button. So we're just gonna call this test button, and we'll give this a beaker icon just because this is a test, and we'll give it a color. We'll just keep it gray for now. Then we have the option to add actions or a single action. In this case, let's just show a confirmation. And I'm just editing that to show you what you can do here. You can also mention pages and edit this as a formula. So there's lots of things that you can do from there. You can pull in dynamic data and things like that. You can change the buttons, and this will allow you to proceed or stop the rest of the actions in the workflow from running if you hit cancel. So if I hit that, now I can hit test button and it will give me this prompt, which is exactly what we set up, and I can hit continue or cancel. It won't do anything either way because there's nothing else. But just to show you, let me add another action, and we'll just do an insert block. Okay, we're gonna insert blocks below the button, and then all I'm gonna do is I'll insert a header. So we'll do a NH3. Okay, cool. So now when I hit test button, it'll ask me, do I wish to continue? I hit continue, and then it will insert. And then same thing, if I hit cancel, it will do nothing after the cancel. So that's really it. That's the basics of how to use buttons. They're very straightforward, but their straightforward nature should not lead you to believe that they're not powerful, because they're incredibly powerful. And I'm gonna show you right now my favorite uses for those buttons. So I have 5 examples that we're gonna go over, and you can see that I'm using buttons here. And in this case, you can see, as I mentioned, you can style the buttons with colors and icons. You saw the icon already, but this is with color as well. One other thing I didn't do, I didn't also give it colorful text. So I could, if I wanted to, give it red text, or the way I had it with just a background. The first example that I have is within a database, quickly changing statuses. So let's jump to that example. And this is my shopping database. This is my live database and things that I actually have to get. And you can see that I have several buttons in my mobile view. So this is what I use when I'm actually on my phone preparing the list. Usually I'm sitting outside of a store and I'm preparing my list. In my shopping database, I choose a store from the list of all the other stores that I have. And then I can decide, do I want to do this today or not today? So if I say I want to do it today, then I check it and it moves to today. It's editing the status. Or I can tell it not today and it will jump down. I also have the ability to hit done, which is the simplest use case here, which is if you have a status property, and you could do this with any statuses that you like, but if I hit done on this, then it will jump to the done section. So it's a very straightforward use case. I'll open these up so you can see what's happening under here. it will edit the page. So the triggering page, it'll change the status to done. That's it. That's all it does. So this one is the exact same thing, except today is here. And then this one, same deal, except not today is here. Now I can set whatever statuses I like. So if I come in here and I hit edit property, I can come in here and say test. And then let's make that red just so it stands out. And then I'm going to edit this. I'm not going to actually save it, but I'm going to come in here and you can see that test option is here. So I can do this with as many buttons and as many statuses as I need. It's incredibly flexible. Just so I don't forget, let's delete that. So that's my first major area. I use it for editing statuses really quickly. I find that when I'm, for instance, in a store shopping, it's much faster to hit done, just in the list, done, 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 as I'm picking things up off a shelf, as opposed to clicking in this and then having to like thumb through and pick the right one. That's actually quite cumbersome. It reminds me of being in my car and they've buried things like my HVAC settings under menus and I have to like tap through things. Very annoying and it's distracting. So I like having single buttons for quick status changes. All right, next thing, navigation. This is one you just saw me do it. That was what this was. When I click this button, it takes me elsewhere. And you have the ability to customize this to take you to external web pages or internal Notion pages, which is great because it allows you to quickly get around. So I can show you what this looks like. This is using the open, so we'll say open page form or URL. And it allows you to decide which Notion page if you're going to do an internal page. And then if you're doing Notion pages, it allows you to choose side peek, center, or full page, which is great. It's very handy. So all of these, I think except this last one because it's in a different workspace, all of these open in the side peek. The next thing that I use buttons for is resetting checklists. This is a packing checklist that I use. I mostly use this in two cases. One, this one that says daily, where I have all the things that I need to make sure I grab as I'm walking out the door. If I'm going to work, there's a lot of crap that I have to bring with me that I have to remember. So headphones, battery, laptop, all that stuff. I mean, there's quite a few things on here. And this one just uses a simple checkbox system. This would work the same with a status. If I wanted to change it to a status, I could put a done button in each of these and then just tap done and it would change the status and do the same thing as checking a box. But in this case, I just have it as simple checkboxes. This is a reusable checklist. So on a Wednesday morning, which is the day I go to the office, I just open my phone or I have a tablet on my wall where I have this as well. And I can see here I have some of these already checked. All I have to do is come to one of these buttons along the left side. I have this reset button. And when I click it, it will set all of the checkboxes back to unchecked. If it was a status, I could tell it set them all back to not started. And just to show you what it looks like in here, when you have a standalone button, it looks a little different than an inline button and in database button. This case, I'm not using a trigger page. I'm actually able to edit all or a filtered selection of pages in a specific database, and they don't have to be on the same page. It could be a database anywhere. So in this case, all that I have it set to is for all pages in this database, change done to unchecked. Now, if I wanted to make it a little more specific, I could change the filter here and I could tell it where done is checked. So it will say where any of these are checked, then change it. Really doesn't matter because it's easy enough to just leave it at all and it will set them all back. So that's another really simple use case for resetting checkboxes in reusable checklists. All right, we're already through 3. The next one is increment and decrement. Now I will say, this template that I'm about to open is something that I'm working on for a future video, so it's not done yet. I am a little obsessed with the Real Housewives, and this is a recent thing for me. So I watched all 15 seasons of New York. I'm now on the final season that's available of Salt Lake City. I started Beverly Hills, and what I actually started, I'm just gonna show it to you. I didn't expect to do this, but I'm gonna show you this ridiculous thing that I've been doing, which is I've been ranking the housewives and other cast members on one of these ranking things. Now, I made this one myself in a tool called Miro because I didn't like those ranking tools that are out there that are free. They're a pain in the butt and I couldn't customize them as much as I wanted. So I made my own. And then just recently, a few days ago, I was like, what if I created my own in Notion? Because that would be fun. Of course it would. So I started building something in Notion, and we're going to use that for incrementing and decrementing right now. So right now this is a mess. It's not cleaned up, but you can see here I have this is just a sample. We're going to look just at this database for right now because there's several on the page. I have a few example cast members and I have rankings in here. The idea is that I want to be able to increase and decrease the ranking as things happen. And so I'm changing it from a letter grade. I could do it as a letter grade. I figured out how to do that in my fitness tracker. I could use and cycle through a letter grade, whether that was just with text or with a select property, could do that with buttons. But I figured why not just give them a numeric value? Because then I can do other fun things like get the data into a chart and have a chart because I'm a nerd. It's fine. Everything is fine. You don't have to send helps. It's fine. Anyway, what I wanted to do was to be able to quickly increase and decrease their rank as they do things that piss me off or do things that don't piss me off. I don't know. And so I added these buttons that allow me to increase and decrease that ranking by 0.25. And that way I can kind of step through in little increments. And that's what these buttons do. So if I choose, now these are just samples. There's no real data in here yet because I haven't migrated it. I'm going to migrate all that stuff in here and then I'm going to publish it and y'all can see where my rankings are at any time. So that'll be fun. And I'm going to teach you how to build it because it's pretty cool. But if I wanted to change Heather's ranking, I could choose plus 2.25 and it will just add and subtract. So I'll show you how that works. If I edit this automation on this button, it edits the trigger page. And all it does, it's a very simple formula that takes this page's rank, so Heather's rank, it takes that number, which was I think 3.5 to start, and adds 0.25. That's it. That's all it does. The other one is exactly the same, except instead of a plus, it's got a minus. Just like that. Very simple, but it's a powerful use case because now I can just sit in my little chair and hit plus minus as they do things that piss me off. It's mostly minus. And I can keep a regular rank of things. Just as a quick aside, because I think it would be fun, I want to show you the most ridiculous thing that I'm working on because it's a little preview. I'm likely going to make this a thing, but this is like so many ridiculous steps. So I've been testing this. Notion has a charts feature. This is totally off base. It has nothing to do with this video, but I just want to tell you anyway because it's fun. Notion has a charts feature that works, but there's something missing. And so ultimately what I wanted to do was make something like this, where you can see their ranks over time and in line charts against each other. So I thought that'd be really fun. And I'm also doing a thing where you can track what episode you're on. So you ideally will be able to see it over the seasons. So throughout the show where their ranking went. I think it'll be very funny. So I really want to do it with Beverly Hills because that'll be from the beginning. I did Salt Lake already and I've already watched it all. But this I thought would be very funny to have a numeric chart of my ranking of each housewife. I'm just upset. Like this is the level of nerd that I am deeply, that speaks to me deeply. It takes like this queer culture, Real Housewives nonsense, these awful, awful people, and lets me like put it to Notion and Google Sheets and charts and it's fine. So just know that that's coming and I'm very excited for it. But in the interim, plus and minus buttons. That's what we're here for. Oh boy. I'm just going to go back now. I got to put my head down on my desk. I don't know what's happening. Okay. Fine. The last example. Can I get it together? The last example. This one has to open in another page because this is in my workspace, but I'm going to open this here and it'll open in a new page. This is a data entry button situation. This is a standalone button. So at work, each week we meet and each of my development coworkers will report out their hours for the week, what they spent in various projects. And every week I track all 4 of them. Bob isn't a developer, but he occasionally has meetings that get tracked here as well. And so every week I need to add a new batch of them to the bottom here. And it was annoying to have to do it manually every time. So I have these buttons over here. This one just adds the plain people, right? Just by themselves. So if I need that, I need to manually enter the dates, I can. I'm going to delete those. This one inserts the current week's dates. Now, these are kind of messed up because I usually just do this on Friday. But let me show you. I don't need them, obviously. Let me show you inside the button. This has some fancy formulas, and I updated it. That's why one of these is commented out. But I have a formula in here that allows you to do this. So I have 2 variables that are defined. One for date Monday and one for date today. I usually, again, do this on Fridays. We have those meetings on Fridays, and that's how that tracks. I could update this to make it a little more fixed where it always tracks Monday to Friday, but no big deal. And then what happens is it will insert each person and then insert those dates from the variables right here. So that's an example of a little bit more of a powerful use case with buttons that demonstrates how to take these seemingly simple tools and make them very powerful. It's really handy to be able to get into those meetings and just click one button and have the things pop in with the correct dates and in the correct group. And then I can just take all the numbers from everyone, which is how we do this at work. Alrighty, this was a quicker video today, but I hope you enjoyed this conversation on buttons. Buttons are actually really powerful. When they introduced them, I was incredibly excited. It was the block buttons first. And then if I recall correctly, it's been a minute. The block buttons existed first, and then the database ones were after that. so helpful. If you have any button examples that you use, I would love to know about them. If I get enough, I'll make another video and compile them. I'd love to give anyone credit. And if you have any questions about any of these, also would love to help you out. Scroll down to the comments and let me know. And last, as usual, if you found anything in this video helpful at all, a like means a lot. It tells me what sort of content to keep creating, and it tells the algorithm to keep showing my stuff to you. So that means you'll get to hear me talk about the Housewives very soon, I hope. I don't know. It's a disaster and everything is fine. And I'm trying really hard to resist inserting a I made it nice about this Notion stuff. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to go, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye for now.